Okay, so we can start, Anjika.
Yeah, we can get started. We have audience already here, so I'll let people
Yeah,
join in between as well. Sure, go
okay,
ahead, Janak.
perfect.
Over to you.
Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to the first session of what we're calling Hacking the Funnel. Basically, our initiative to talk about cybersecurity marketing with cyber founders and marketers who have done it, throughout their journey. We've basically cracked it in the sense of, a particular thing about cybersecurity marketing and, how to do it, how to get the best out of marketing strategies. Today, we have Mette Nikander. She is former CEO of Secure, a cybersecurity consulting firm based in Denmark. So Mette has been a security professional for 30 plus years, and she's worked as a leader and strategic business advisor in the cyber and information security domain. So we are here to discuss how Mette sort of used marketing, marketing strategies and execution to get her firm Secure acquired by Nixu Corporation in 2021. And basically, what was the journey? How did it go? And some other insights from Mette's own experience. So, welcome, Mette, to this session. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'll leave more space for you to introduce yourself. I'll not take your thunder. So, just quick, maybe you want to start with your early days into cyber. Like, how do you start Secure? What was the what was the landscape back then in '93? Uh,
Yeah.
you
Well,
could,
actually,
yeah,
it started before that because to get into
yeah.
cyber, you need to find your way into cyber. But yeah, my name is Mette Nikander, and I actually found my way into this business in 1991. I had
Okay.
at that time, before then, I was an AD assistant for McCann Erickson, an advertising, worldwide advertising bureau. So I did commercials for Coca-Cola and Martini and other brands, non-existent as today. But anyway, I thought that the sales guys were always coming home full of energy and having so much fun, and they actually conducted the whole dialogue with the clients, and I envied them that part of the work because it was more interesting to deal with the people than just sit there, draw and be creative and make text and stuff. So I winded up with a sales job at Canon first. And then from there on, suddenly I found myself at a cybersecurity and network company called Delphi Technologies. It was a small company, as all companies were at that time, and especially here in Denmark, where we are only like 7 million people all in all. But it was a nice little company, and everybody could ask everybody about everything. And very soon they thought that, well, you can deal with the part of Milex motherboards and Bates antivirus. And I had hardly ever touched a keyboard, so that was like, really? I'm just a salesperson. But well, I thought that okay, then I really needed to understand what it was that I was doing. So I hooked up with the technical guy at the company and said, explain me everything that you know. And very soon I found out that this agency that we were dealing with, the base VIS, it was a originated company from UK. And it was the founder was called Jim Bates. So I thought that I need to connect with him, and so I did. And yeah, what happened was that yeah, how I started Secure basically was that one morning I came into my job, and suddenly the two owners had to come into an argument, and it was an immediate sale. I had one day to figure out what to do, say yes to being moved to another company along with base antivirus, or just stop working in this segment at all. So I asked if I could go home and figure it out what I wanted. Had 24 hours, basically one day. Came back and said, guess what? I haven't found out anything because I didn't have any plan right at this stage. But if you'll give me my 3 months leave, if I give you that back, You don't need to give me any notice. But I want that desk. I want that computer. I want that printer. And I want to sit further down the hall in that office. If that's okay with you guys, then we have a deal. And I thought they're never going to buy it, but they did. What I didn't recognize was I was 26 years old and not really experienced in this field, but I was the only one who knew anything about the Bates antivirus product. So therefore, I got a deal. Basically, they simply didn't have anybody else to sell it to. I was the only one in Denmark knowing anything about it, but I didn't know at that point. I didn't realize. So this was really a matter of being bold, I would say. And I also realized that, wow, shit, I really need to know something about what I'm doing because I understood some, but I wasn't really on top of things. So I engaged with Jim Bates, this guy who invented the Bates antivirus product. He was a crime investigator of digital crimes at Scotland Yard. And he was really nice and spent a lot of time with me trying to explain everything. I didn't have a technical background, as you know, but I really tried to understand everything. And that was my path into cybersecurity, basically. And from there on, he helped me because he was on his way out of his career. He was an old guy. He was actually dressing up like Sherlock Holmes. I'm not kidding you guys. He wore the cap and the everything, hat and everything, and he had a stick with silver on, and he had a dog that never left him, and all the pictures in the data sheets also posted his dog. He was a really original person, but also quite fun and interesting to be with and clever. Anyway, he introduced me to this whole business and recommended me to go to Germany, Frankfurt, not Frankfurt, Hanover, for the CeBIT fair. It was humongous at that time. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but at that point, it was really, dragging in like 1.5 million people or something in those days. So I went there and got engaged further into cybersecurity and who's in the business and so on. So I got to know, for example, Norman and Thunderbite. Actually, it was Thunderbite first. They were the ones who had the first heuristic scanner. And why did we want that at that point? Because if anybody goes that far back, they will know that memory on hard disks, we didn't have much of that. So everything that could save you a few seconds, milliseconds even, that was, a win. And therefore, Thunderbite was interesting. And that was the first time where I realized, okay, so I need to figure out why the products are unique in each their way and how to sell them, basically. What is it which things should I drive in my marketing activities? How should I drive my sales? And what should I point out, basically? And my background as a commercial person within PR and art directory was really helping me out here. So that was basically my way in. And I learned also in the beginning I was a small company, me employed, and external support and helpers that I hired in and stuff like that. But I learned that the vendors that I was dealing with, they were quite big already at that time. So what I needed to do was basically use their muscle, both marketing-wise in the beginning, but also their muscle in coming up with events or speakers for events and stuff like that. And nothing comes from nothing. I needed to basically make quite an effort myself also. So so that was a bit about that.
You really learned on the go, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So what was your journey like? Just a bit one small question on the early journey of Secure, right? So how did you go about deciding the offerings that you were to do, like, and how did the firm mature into a services company, and all of that, because you must have figured it out as you went along, right?
Yeah, I needed to figure out the landscape. What was the company's needs, the client's needs, what was out there solving the problems, how could I make deals with those, how could I become a reseller or a distributor or whatever for those companies internationally. And fortunately for me, I was one of the first ones doing this in Denmark. And as you can understand, it wasn't because I was visionary. I was just opportunistic. I got the chance and I just grabbed it, but it wasn't because I kind of foresee that, this is going to happen and this is the way to go about it. Never, ever. I was just as chanceless as anybody else. I was just putting in efforts, basically. And the first way I started out was realizing at that point there was a lot of hardware, for example, firewalls, that quickly became outdated, also because of memory. Everything expanded so wide, so quickly that very soon your firewall wouldn't be adequate enough for you. So I knew I wouldn't get into that kind of business. I wanted to be in the software business because it was much easier to basically update quicker than with hardware. At least at that time it was. So I got into, of course, anti-malware because I was already there. And then I got into content filtering, personal firewalls. I even got into web gateways. So that went away again. Multi-factor authentication, privileged access management, and then, the more technology that I invited in, like also encryption, that was quite tough to understand for the clientele. The more I realized, wow, I need also to be able to offer advisory around it, but also the things I knew was from the threat intel I got from my partners or vendors. I should use that intelligence and provide that to my clients, but I should also offer them help for implementing and configuring, and I should also help them running the whole security thing. So some of the first managed services came up there, and it slowly evolved. Like when people use the internet more and more, then new needs came up and new threats came up. Actually, the needs came from the threats, and suddenly the internet that was introduced in Denmark, basically for common man in 1993, the same year as I started, that kind of blew everything up to big proportions that nobody had foreseen and nobody was ready for, and things went really on a different pace than they probably were ready for. We digitalized a lot in Denmark, also in the public sector, more than common man or companies could actually follow through. And even the public sector couldn't basically live up to securing and creating privacy for the digital procedures that they were establishing. And that was a problem. It still is, actually. It went too fast. So
Okay.
offering complex solutions to complex problems, that became kind of my way of going about it, and also doing impartial advisory, which also put me in a situation where I was able to both deliver directly or buy through other distributors, but also offer different kind of competing products side by side. So I could have F-Secure coexist with Norman and Thunderbite and whoever. A quite unique position to be in, because it turned out that what I have done, hardly anybody was able to do afterwards, because the vendors wouldn't allow it, that you couldn't sell a competing product. But I managed somehow. I don't know why.
So, Mette, quickly jumping to the key question here, right, which is the acquisition in 2021. But you can plug in the details with during the journey of your operations and your marketing, right? So what happened? Were you in touch with Nixu from the beginning, or how did the acquisition really come about? And
Well, yeah, to basically get known in the market as such a small company, for me, the way of doing the marketing was to use the vendors, as I said, but also, for example, coming up with when you had info security in Denmark, I couldn't afford a stand there. So what I did was instead I invited the clients for a brunch just nearby the fair, and then we walked together on pre-booked meetings with the vendors, and then I got all the leads afterwards. That was a deal I made with the vendors, and it worked perfectly. And today, actually, InfoSecurity is doing that themselves, making guided tours on the fair, exactly as I did it in the old days. So that's fun to follow. But that was how I marketed all the products and the issues, and I started, turning up in newspapers. I put in ads, and I didn't spend that much money on it because I also fairly quickly understood that it was too complex sometimes to explain in an ad. So I didn't spend that much money on it. Basically, like 1,500 euro or something at a time for doing some commercial or ads or whatever, but it was small money. I instead found out that magazines for digital industry in Denmark, or branches or whatever, was a better way for me to appear where the clientele was actually already interested in the platform. I could then turn up there. The more I made noise, the more I had the chance of speaking out at conferences and workshops and webinars, seminars, and so on, and both conducting my own ones, sponsored by my vendors very often, but also at the end, I got invited, and also invited for moderating certain discussions or debates on cybersecurity and privacy. So I basically just grew my seniority and played the king in the blind Reich, you could say, but that was what I did. I basically made my way in and spreading a lot of interest in and activities all over, appearing wherever I could see a good opportunity.
So when you mentioned you made enough noise in the industry, right, for you to get recognized. So was it all offline? Did you you mentioned, did you use LinkedIn or any other online channel to sort of,
Yeah, I used LinkedIn and branch networks where they had a portal maybe, or wherever I had the chance to on digitalized platforms turn up as well. So, but LinkedIn started out in Denmark in 2003, and I would say it took me a year to understand how to use that muscle, but what it was a perfect, and it still is a perfect engine for marketing, and it's basically free if you use it in the right way. And for me, poor me starting up at the beginning, it was a good and effective way, and also I could see quite quickly the results of my efforts. So I could always measure, was this a good initiative or wasn't it? And just correct it the day after, or the next month or week or whatever. And I also started inviting people in for these events that we held. And clients loved to attend to events where they didn't have to pay to attend. And they shouldn't, because I made the sponsors pay for it instead. So that was my kind of cheap trick to get through all this, because I was up against really heavy guys and vendors that were massively promoting their own skills and offerings. So this was my way in, and that made enough noise so that when Nixu went out and bought a company called Ascenta, Ascenta then recommended Nixu to also take a look at us. Also because there weren't that many companies to buy in Denmark. So I think that was the way in. We were quite noisy, and somebody else pointed at us, and then Nixu took a look at us and thought that we were suitable to acquire, basically. But
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
also say that there's a reason why I wasn't ready for it in the beginning, because and that's something I would tell to everybody. You need to consider whether you think that the culture that you have in your company, that you can just be ready to accommodate any other culture, or you should set some demands on who do you want to play with, who do you want to be, where do you want to go, your minimum requirements for partnering or investors, how should they play into your role and company. That is really important, and that was also why I didn't immediately see the fortune in selling. And also I had 4 kids, still have, I have to mention. Yeah, we were breeding a lot while all this was going on. But having 4 kids and running a company, it's also hard then to sell it, because I had molded it into something that worked for me. And I wasn't sure that an investor would find it just as attractive as I did. So I had some considerations during the years. But what finally then made me convinced that I had to sell was a very unfortunate thing. In 2020, I got a brain hemorrhage. It was first I got a brain clot, and then when the doctors tried to remove it, they resolved it with a medicine called thrombolysis. And unfortunately, instead of just melting the brain clot, they brought me a brain hemorrhage. And that was so severe for me that I was called home. And family also encouraged me to take a look at my life and reconsider and see if I could find somebody which I would sell to. And that was Nixu, because on the sites, these guys center had pointed at me. So everything came together as it sometimes do. It took me 4 months to sell the company, and that is, can I tell you, very fast. It's not normal to sell your company in 4 months. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mette, just I want to have like point out. I want to ask you like one interesting thing that you did on LinkedIn while you were sort of trying and testing early days of LinkedIn, right? No one knew how to operate it. There was no precedent to use LinkedIn. So one interesting thing you did you use paid marketing? That's my second sort of plug into this question. And the
Did I
third is,
use
did you
what?
find
Sorry.
paid marketing, paid ads, or because again, Google was new.
Yeah.
Was it there or not? I don't know. And then the third thing is, did you get good clients out of LinkedIn efforts?
I didn't get that much out of LinkedIn. I got something, but you need to realize that what you can at your max do is that you can get a lead. You won't get the client just by being on LinkedIn, but you will get some leads if you understand how to deal with them and how to react on them. And the bait that you put out there should be of some value for the client. They simply need to see that what you posted is also something that they would like to share, because that's the free marketing for you, so that they will share it with their network, and even maybe find it so interesting that they will actually invite you to come and speak at some group therapy they have with their friends or network or whatever. But that is really that is way in. So what I did very often was that give them a free advice, kind of something of real heavy value that I put in my postings. Or it could be that they could attend for free of something of very high value. I could make small workshops where they really got the high value, but that was also because I was planting ideas in their heads during these workshops, so that I knew that I had something to breed from. But the way to come to that point where I could do that, I used LinkedIn to invite and create debates and discussions. I still do.
Yeah. So
Was that an
interesting take,
answer
right?
to your
So never.
question?
Yeah, so you basically didn't approach LinkedIn from just a lead gen perspective, right? Which is what most of us sort of do, but more of a building your own connections and your own network, so
Yeah.
that that the second order effects will come, eventually.
Yeah. You have to remember that you can do a great sales pitch, but it's the branding that makes the whole idea and concept stick with the client. That they recurrently get reminded that, oh yeah, that's also true. Yeah, that's what they fix. So the branding value goes hand in hand with the efforts of all the other things that you do in marketing, and the whole way of approaching new markets as well. But you need to start somewhere. And yeah, that is definitely by being on LinkedIn and appearing on all kinds of platforms, discussing and debating advertising. If you want to spend money on advertising, I didn't do that so much. And every time I bought a campaign at that time, it was maybe for like 1,500 euros or something. It wasn't that much per campaign. It was a few money. And I really designed the campaigns in a way so that I was sure that I got the outcome that I wanted, the exact outcome. And you can filter a lot on LinkedIn so that
Yeah.
your campaigns are thoroughly directed to your the group that you want to get in to reach, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Mette, we'll just quickly take up a few questions from the audience. I think it's one question, right? Anjika, want to take up?
Yeah, we have one question from Tanmay, who is there in the session as well. So he has posted that, how to make cybersecurity easier for someone to explain who is especially new in the field. So if you have a prospect who is new in the field, or for somebody who is themselves new in the field, how to make it easier.
Wow, it's a funny question because either you do it or you don't. Um, a nerd very occupied about his product or her product would be able to talk the lingo of that product, but that's not necessarily what the client needs. And if you're not skilled in communication, if you don't understand how you need to interpret this, then you shouldn't do it. You should ask somebody else to do that. I had a term that we called a medify. When the techies came with a new problem, or the threat intel people came with a new problem for the market, and approached me and said, we should sell something like this, or could you put a product together on this? I knew that I couldn't go to the market explaining it at the way as I was told. So first of all, I asked them, could you please medify it? My name is Mette, so medify it, basically accommodating the text so that they knew that I understood it. And when done, they did that. Then afterwards, I translated it in to further clients down the road that needed it further explained. So you should basically, like, you translate everything else, and now you have a Copilot and ChatGPT and other tools to help you. Ask for a simple translation of what it is that you want to tell your market. But it is, you need to be aware of this because it's not something that you just do. You need to understand how they understand and perceive. And if you lose them, you lose them. And you don't have that much time. You have this elevator pitch of 30 seconds and then they're gone. So you really need to train this. How would you elevate your pitch fast and efficient for somebody that doesn't understand anything about cyber? Go home and train, I would say.
Yeah, so basically actually sharpen your X before you actually start cutting down the tree, right? Because uh it's a complex world, and especially perception is difficult, and it's literally a lot. We have one more question, Jana, that we'll take. It's
Yeah, yeah,
from
please go
Vaibhav
ahead.
Gupta. It's from Vaibhav Gupta. He's joining in from Ireland. So his question is, how does culture or language impact marketing or sales? Specifically, as an English speaker, how easy or difficult it is to penetrate non-English markets within the EU? Nice question, I would say.
Yeah, it is. And you need to find somebody who can speak the language. Yeah, there's no easy way out of that, unless you're just talking about marketing and you're not talking about sales. So it depends. If you don't need to approach the clients directly, then you need to understand the market and the culture for that country. There's a big difference from Romania to Denmark, for example, or even from the Netherlands to Denmark. So the way of going about it is it's very important to understand how's the climate, what are their most important issues, what are they discussing about, for example, if it comes to legislation, do they have certain worries about threats and security, are they attending any wars that might do hybrid war more relevant for them to discuss, so understand your clientele. And that is the way of going about how you should approach them. I hope this answers a bit about this. And then also I would say that it's also very critical that you understand what are they used to, which level of lingo are they used to, and their financial situation in the country as whole, in that certain segment that they are working, or that specific company. What are the type of employees? Are they knowledgeable or aren't they? What kind of clients do they have? Same thing. Are they knowledgeable or not? What are their sense of urgency? For example, in Denmark, we are very impatient. In Sweden, they are less impatient. So it differs what you can get away with. So, for example, what kind of service level agreement can you offer? And also understand the complexity of the infrastructure of the client and the complexity of the society in that country. And expectations to general terms and conditions to deal, and do they have demands, for example, for language? You can sell your product, but it turns out that they want local language support, and you can't offer that. So how do we do that? So you need to figure out, all that before you also go in and approach the market. And if you take the chance anyway, it's about finding lighthouse clients that can then be your referral later on in your journey. But this is the way to go about it. Really thoroughly understand your clients and your market and the territory that you want to take over, and about the language. Understand that as long as it's written, you can probably get away with quite a lot of things with Google Translate or whatever. But you can't get away with something if you need to speak the language and you're not able. You can't get away with speaking English. I have had clients in the past, especially within the public sector, that didn't speak English. And if I had presented them with an English-speaking support, I wouldn't have gone anywhere with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vaibhav, to your question, which is, how would you suggest finding such partners who are into that system and culture? I think we can take it later. Janak, if you want to continue, we have one more question, but we can take it later for sure.
Yeah. So, Mette, coming to this question of like, you did a lot of, you said you made a lot of noise, did a lot of lunches with your vendors, and got, basically made connections throughout your journey, right? But we also see a certain distinction between the choice between outright sales and marketing, right? For cyber founders. Many choose outright sales to start with, and many choose marketing as, to do brand promotion awareness and stuff like that. What's your take between with the choice between the two?
I think both are relevant, and you'll also see that penetrating, for example, a new market, you could actually get the embassies in a country where you're not represented at this point. You can get the embassy to help you in that given country, and they will try to book meetings for you. So that could be a way of doing it. They are quite helpful and actually don't charge anything, as far as I know. So that could be a way of doing it. Yeah. And of course also, it is important to brand, and as I said before, you can brand in a local language. And also if you have some contacts in that given country that can actually give you some points, and also the embassy can help with that. How should I state how should I promote myself in this field in this given country? But if we're talking about, for example, owning new territories in the same country as you're already existing, then it's different. And then you need to understand their pains. You need to understand their struggles. Are they struggling, for example, with all kinds of legal requirements that you could maybe tap into? If you get into that and get the, as we say in Denmark, the shovel under it, then actually you're in a good position, because you're talking about some of the pains. And if you can solve that with your product and help them on that journey, that's a really, really good place to be. So that's a way of approaching a new segment, territory or market, I would say. And understand also your competition. What are they doing? Look them over the shoulder. Don't talk bad about your competitors. You can recognize them, of course, at a meeting. But the more you talk about them, the more you are selling for them. So keep a low profile on that one. Rather speak highly about your own product. That's a much better idea, and it leaves people with a good impression of you as a person and a company.
That's definitely true. So coming to competition, Mette, what do you think about positioning? How does it matter when you look at, cybersecurity products today? A lot of the sort of the density has increased, right? Too much competition. One particular solution has more than 2, 3, 4 vendors. How do you position yourself? Or just that why positioning is important, that's first. And how can let's say a services firm focus on positioning themselves differently in a competitive market?
There's a lot of questions you're asking there. The uniqueness of your product. You had the idea of coming out with your company, and you have something you want to do for the market. So figure out why do you earn this place? Make it short and efficient in your dialogues. Put it to the point, and make statements that will actually plant that perception that you are different from somebody else. That's really important. And how you differ. And so not long text, like of several A4 pages or something, but short and swift. Put it to the point. What is different? If you can't do that, actually, AI will be able to help you to shorten down your sentences and put your own text into a short shout out, which is where you want to be. You've got a few seconds to catch people's attention. So that is some of the way into it. And then you pulled a lot of other questions that you lost me there. So could you please remind me? What else did you ask?
So one sort of side question was why positioning is important for cybersecurity companies.
Well, because the market is basically flooded with AI engine something, or cloud something else, and XDR, and there's a lot of expressions and technologies out there, and clients are suffering from flooding basically. So you need to stick out and also be quite clear. For example, offer straightforward SLAs, service level agreements. Don't make your portal, if you drag people into your website, don't make it weird where some of your fees are hidden, and they will only discover it after purchasing your product. Then suddenly they need to pay this extra fee or to get support or something. Be very transparent. That is really, really important. And also something that I found, at least, was there's a lot of people offering something, but time is precious, and it is for everybody. And we all been there where we sat and waited for Windows support somewhere, You are now number 17 in line. Thank you for waiting. Don't put that pressure onto your clients. If you can ever speed up the efficiency of your product and your services and your support, that is a really good place to be, because people are losing patience. Everything is so fast here except from support, which really sucks everywhere, almost. But you know, we all hate it, don't we? Even when we're out shopping and we need to pay for something and it just takes hours, and we're like, oh, come on, God. Where do you need to be? In your car going home? Can't you wait 2 minutes or 3? But apparently we can't, because we're taught to be impatient. So if you can catch that and do something about it, that would be good.
Yeah, that's a good advice, actually.
As they say, do the simplest thing, right? I mean, don't go for complex stuff.
It's quite simple, isn't it? But even though it's worrying a lot of people, and time is precious, but also that they trust you. So it's very important that you can show that you are trustworthy, that you can also be more to the point of their problem, that you, the more you show that you understand them, the more they trust you and the more they want to be involved with you. It's like a partnership, basically a marriage. It's, you should not provide or promote yourself as a provider, but rather a partner. And partner is such a smart word, but act like a partner. I hear you. I will solve that problem for you. Give me a sec. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish my husband was like that.
We all wish it for the
Some life lessons as well. Yeah. Okay, Mette, is a slightly sort of a digression to the question that we've been discussing, right? So, your views on the current acquisition and investment scene or mindset in the cybersecurity industry, the current. What's happening? What's going to happen? What's the risk appetite? Stuff like that.
Yeah, well, the market has a great potential. Nobody will doubt that. You don't. They don't need another AI, as I said, AI engine or something. Especially not if you can't prove why it differentiates from any other AI. So something is the documentation around your product or your company needs to be to the point and very clear, and differentiated from all the rest, because we don't need another one. That is something that is important for them. And if they want to invest in it, they are looking for resources. So they will look for skilled people. So your fleet of personnel or your expertise, they will look for that. Your product might be what they are missing, the last thing in the puzzle that they are missing, so that it makes a complete picture. So that could also be the reason for them to look at you. And then there's of course also market presence. You are maybe represented in a market that they are not. So they will look for that as well. And I would also say that they will also sometimes just look for your employees and not your company, and you should be aware of that. You can get swallowed and spit out, in the sense that they will purchase you to basically kill the company and just take over the employees. And another thing is that if you make an agreement where your agreement is depending on your employees to stay, you need to be able to motivate your employees to stay just as much as yourself. If you're not able to do that and you have an earnout situation for maybe 2, 3, 5 years, and all the employees walk out, you won't get a penny for your company. You'll just have killed it. So there's a lot of things to be on the outlook for when you are in a position where somebody bids on your company or your threat intel or your knowledge somehow, their market intelligence. So it's really important that you make sure, first of all, to be able to document what it is, the gains, and also that you need to understand your own clientele. What kind of clients are you approaching? Why do they want to buy your product? And that you should then explain to your investor. And then, yeah, so you call it, I think you call it the ideal customer profile, actually. And then, of course, you need to be able to validate your customers in fairly early in the process, and maybe also have these lighthouse clients to show the validity of your win or outcome of using your product. But also as examples for the investors to see, okay, in that context, it can be used. Now I understand, kind of. Yeah, and then you should also yourself have a path for growth. You should have planned something or illustrate that. If you come into this equation, I see us moving in that direction, and we will own this market or this field or be sovereign in this clientele or whatever it might be. Or you can expand your relation to your existing clients by having my product in your portfolio as well, or my knowledge, whatever it might be. So, but be on the lookout because you will meet some dragons out there that are just eating you and spitting you out.
Yeah. So that says always be ready for it with your expansion plans, right? Somewhere in your head.
Yeah. And also, yeah, it needs to be earned. But if they run a risk, the risk need to be earned. They need to. It can't be just assumed. They need to see the potential. It needs to be quite clear for them, and they are hunting for strong engineering teams, for example, or a veg into markets, as I said. So, yeah, I would say that is what you should look out for. But it's not that easy, and you should be able to also go through a due diligence, and that means that due diligence also touches upon the regulatory demands for your company, and you should be able to basically illustrate that you are compliant. Investors won't just buy your technology if the rest of your company sucks. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. Mette, so we'll take one more question from the audience. Andrika?
Yeah, sure. So we have Luke on the call, and the question that he has posted is, what was the value proposition of your company when you pitched it to be acquired by Nixu, and how did you shape it?
My value proposition for Nixu that purchased my company, or I think actually they saw it themselves. That way, I had a company represented in Denmark with an impartial role. I could talk to anybody. I already had lots of clients, and I had a huge network. I was a voice in the medias. So they saw kind of all-in-one situation with me, adding up to the company they already purchased that was also highly specialized within certain cybersecurity fields. They could then much easier just basically open an offers with us in it, and they could say Nixu Denmark, which they did. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty
that
much-
was why
That's
it
a
was
strong value proposition.
attractive for them. Yeah, what you could then later on, when you look back, say is that it's not that easy, neither for those who are investing or for you as a company being bought, because people will leave if they don't like the new culture, if they don't like the terms and conditions, if they don't believe in the direction that the new owner will take, whatever it might be. So, and for me, then I was doubting for many years to merger with anybody or being purchased exactly because of cultural issues. And it is tough to be acquired, I can tell you. Even if you were acquired by your best friends, I would say it's still tough. It's like sleeping with your best friend, and you never slept before together. just because we are friends with. There are things that wouldn't work, and that is also what you need to be aware of and be patient about and accept when you sell your company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there was one more follow-up question from Weber, which is, how would you suggest finding partners who are into that system or culture, right? So we had a question where he asked the language gap, right? The language barrier. So if we have to find a partner in that particular region, what is the best way for a startup or a small company?
If it's in your own country, I would Google. Yeah, sorry, but I would of course ask my network. I would search on different portals, but I would use search engines if I wasn't in a position where I could go to a branch organization, for example, like we have what we call Danish industry, with all the Danish industry partners, almost all of them are members of that organization. Then I can go to that organization and say, could you please help me point out these highlighted conditions and find me 10 partners that I should approach and try and see if I can engage with. You can do that through organizations as such. That can be another way of doing it. And then, yeah, as I said, your network, use it. Sometimes people that know people, and then everything comes together. Yeah. And I would also give another good recommendation, and that is that I just said Google just before, and I thought actually it's a word that it's a product, isn't it? It's a verb, but it's also a product. If you can
Yeah.
turn your product into a verb, you're in a good position. So, like I said, medify. That's also a verb, basically. But doing that with your product and your branding, if you're able to get in that position, that will bring you some good opportunities just in itself. Yeah.
That's actually really good advice, because verbing it out, I think a lot of people fail at it. But yeah, great. Over
Yeah,
to you, John.
it's called like to Lego and to Google and so forth. It's quite funny. You can go out searching on it, and you'll find that a lot of companies did this, and that they're in a good place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Meta, since we are on finding the right partners, I want to ask about your 2 cents on good GTM strategies for cyber founders starting today. Any region. You can start with talk about Europe. You can talk about global strategies, whatever. You're you know it best.
So the go-to-market strategies. Yeah. Focus on one segment or a type of clients at a time. Find out everything about them, as I mentioned, all these financial situations and legal matters and so on, so you know them, and then approach them in that proper manner for that segment. So take one step at a time. That is basically my best advice. If you spread too much and you try to be a specialist in everything and generalist, you're not getting anywhere. But if you take one step at a time, and it doesn't need to be slowly, but methodically through the process, and that will help you a lot, I would say. And also, yeah, as I mentioned, these lighthouse clients, if you're able to go in and breed lighthouse clients, and also maybe give them an upper hand and say, okay, you will get my product for free or almost for free for the first year or whatever, if you help me establish myself in this market. And you ask maybe 5 clients to participate in this, and that will also get you faster into the market and more thoroughly get a grasp of the market, also because they are recognized by the market maybe for other things. Another thing you can also do is that you tap in to social awareness that you are a caring company, that you're not just in it for the money, but you're actually solving an important human issue. If you are, then you should really emphasize that. People are dealing with people, they aren't dealing with companies. So if they feel that your company is almost like a human being, that'll move you closer to their heart. So show your responsibility and caring in the processes is also something where you can differentiate, because not many do that these days. Yeah, superficially, they will just put, a point that I'm supporting this and I'm doing that. Yeah. Are you really doing it? Are you, for example, as I do voluntary work on and networking on improving the cybersecurity of Denmark. Things like that. I don't get paid. So that's more something like that. It could be a good point. Helping the elderly or helping school children sponsor something where it has great importance for society. Yeah,
Absolutely.
whatever.
The human side of it, basically, right? It's creating your own image that,
Yeah.
as you said, right? It's people to people. We have one more question from Shivani. So what she's asking is, after building and growing Secure for decades, you decided to sell the company, right? And that's definitely an emotional and strategic decision. But what were the key factors that led you to that moment? Was there a specific turning point, personal, market driven, or organizational, that made you realize it was the right time to let go?
Well,
And apart from the brain hemorrhage thing, for sure.
yeah, well, I was forced, wasn't I? I was kind of almost kicked out, but so that was a wake-up call, and that is something you should be aware of. That if you push yourself too hard, you can get sick and you can actually die from it. So listen to your mind. And actually, I felt stressed, but I didn't feel that I was dying. But my body apparently thought that we were dying now. So listen to that. But also, what actually made me realize that that was a good time was I was reaching an age where I actually also felt that this was a good position. Also, there was a lot of companies buying companies at that time in Denmark. So this was also the time where I could see that now I should, it's a good opportunity to put my company up for sale. And also a good opportunity for me to wind up in a company that could provide me with SOC services and capabilities that I didn't have in my own company. So I was approaching this very positively. I was looking for somebody that could boost that energy and the good path that we were on. And therefore Nixu wasn't that bad a choice, I would say. But it's always harder when somebody small get purchased by bigger, because you can, of course, imagine they will tell you how to behave. You're not in charge that much anymore, and you need to accommodate to that thought for the greater good. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Over to you, Janak. You don't have
Yeah,
any more
so
questions.
just one last question, Mette, and then we can take audience questions if they are. So on your journey over the last 30 years, and then more on the journey over the last 20 years of doing marketing, online, offline, all of it, do you think content and marketing is even more essential today? And, in what sense? Like, how can a founder use content and marketing to sort of build their brand presence, leverage the sort of, make some
Yeah.
noise, as you said, right?
Yeah. But as I said, yeah, make some noise, but and also how you communicate to the internet, how you stand out on the internet is quite important. Don't write too much text if what you want is some bullets to push through to our clients. Then you should actually do some postings or articles or events or something where you use these point of views or bullets to push through and be repetitive in what you do and consequent. Just carry on, like a hammer. Just do it. Don't give up. It's really tough in the beginning, but the consistency is also needed to get through. And your competitors will on and off be active, but if you consistently just carry on no matter what, you'll be there when they give up or are not aware of certain tendencies. Another thing is bring the value add in your communication, give something away, because then you can have the chance of them spreading the word. And it's really hard, for example, in Denmark, at least, the legislation is in such a way that I can't, as a leader, demand that my employees should share my postings or articles on the internet or on LinkedIn. I can't demand that. I can hope for it and I can really ask them nicely, but it's up to them if they want to do it. So be in a place where your employees will work with you and see the gains also for themselves, if they're consultants, for example, and that they will get better opportunities of more clients and more time, so more sold hours or more sold products if they help on this journey. They need to see the potential just as much as you see it. And sometimes the internal communication is where it lacks, and it can be uphills. So, and if you can have partners also spreading the word, that's even greater. If you can have clients that will help you and say, I think the important issues that you are discussing right now, I will help you. I will have an event where I invite you, and if you can get other speakers in as well from your network, I will sponsor it. I have several clients doing that. So they sponsor the event, have us in there. We plan the whole thing, and their clients get an impression that they are dealing with a partner that are really in it for the good. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way to look at it, right? Building a network around your own ideas, right? And trying
Yeah.
to get as much buy-in as possible from whoever
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really nice. That's really interesting. But so now we will have anyone from the audience who wants to just quickly come on camera and have any questions or have a discussion, please feel free. Otherwise, we are good. We can wrap the session.
Yeah, I have allowed unmuting, and if you guys want to come on camera and Mette, just for reference, I mean, the kind of insights that you gave, I mean, it was literally tremendous. And I'm taking away 3 points for sure. One is the embassy one, because I was not aware of it, and it's something
Yeah.
really very new to me, right? And the second one is the journey where you kind of you're forced into selling, but then you took it as a good part of it, right? And you continued. And the third part is the things that you should actually see when you are either getting acquired or acquiring a company, right? And especially in the employees part of it, and what exactly happens and all of these things. So it's really, really insightful to know these things happen. So anybody from the session,
Mette,
if you
I have a question for you. You never thought
Yeah.
of writing a book on your journey? Like that's quite interesting, quite a plot for the book.
And everybody asked me that. It's funny. I have a lot of gossip also I could throw in, but yeah,
big
well,
vendors.
I never got around to it. But maybe I need a partner to write that book with me. Then I'm on. But doing it myself, oh God, that's exhausting. I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
true. That's
interesting.
true.
That's very true. But would love to read if there is a book anytime soon, maybe years down the line.
Yeah, Janak,
And
I
I,
need
of course, we only had a 1 hour session, but I've got lots of good ideas and recommendations for people, and people are welcome to approach me privately and ask me if they need good advice or if I can tell them more about a certain market or whatever it might be. I'm also actually on the lookout for a new job or a new position. So I think these discussions are very relevant for myself as well. So please don't hesitate to approach me.
Sure, Mette.
amazing.
We have
That's
shared your LinkedIn with all people and expect more DMs to you on LinkedIn,
I
right?
hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Bit welcome.
I think
Shivani, you want to
Shivani
say
is
something?
unmuted. Yeah.
Hi, Mette. Thank you so much for your session. It was really incredible. and coming from you with so much of experience, it really gives a lot of value to new entrepreneurs like us, just 5 years into it. I had this question, like I always wanted to ask, like in the startup ecosystem, we always say like a founder has like two things: either you sell your company or get acquired. So that's the metric of success. So, like, do you believe like, or like getting acquired as an entrepreneur, it should be an end goal for an entrepreneur, or like it's like an over glamorized version that everyone has spread over the world? And looking back, because looking back, you might have so much of experience on it. Looking back, how do you define success, like as an entrepreneur? Do you think that's the guardrail that one should be walking?
Yeah, I think that it's a good question about how do you define success, because for me, the success was that I had a whole life where I could attend to my family, help my children when they needed it, as well as growing my company. And I built the terms and conditions around that in a way so I was able to exist as a human being as well. And I think if I could recommend that to anybody, I would do so, understanding that you can't sleep your way through your career, and that's not what I mean. But it's really nice to own your own company because you set the goals and the limits for where to take this, and it's really important that you can stand up for yourself and get quality into your life. That said, there's also a journey with partnering or maybe fetching funding from the outside that could be interesting as well. And what you just need to be thorough about is to keep your integrity in that. Remind yourself why you're here and why you went on this journey, and try to drag that into it and inspire maybe those who are trying to support you purchasing as a part of your company, or financing it somehow. But it's also sometimes you stand out because you have a certain personal profile that people like, and it's actually hard to sell your company if they feel that we're just buying Meta. We're not really buying Secure. We are buying Meta, because then they don't think it's anything worth if I'm not in it. But it might be that you will actually would like to be self-made company acquired by somebody else, but where you are in a situation where you are a separate department. You just get really the opportunity of funding your further journey and growing, expanding your ideas. So there's a lot of opportunities in this field, but you really need to, feel your heart and soul, and also if somebody then shows an interest, be able to explain them what it is that they get for their money, what your terms and limits are, and what your plans are, and you should document all this. You should be able to do a PowerPoint presentation. Yeah.
Helpful, because we heard like a lot of narratives from other founders too. They believed like if I made a product, my end goal should be to get acquired by a bigger company, or maybe an exit and open and start up a new company. Like I have two businesses, consulting and a product, but the consulting business is like very close to my heart. I can never think about selling it to someone, or maybe get an external funding into it. I don't know. So now we have a product which I am like, okay, I moved to US 2 years ago, and it feels like unless and until you have a lot of funding, you cannot scale. So there's so much of chatter in the market, like you should do, or this should be best for you. I think, as I understand from your thoughts too, you should go with what your heart says and what's good for you and what's beneficial for you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mette.
And thank you. And scaling in itself, isn't it worth anything? And you should also be aware that there's a breaking point where you can scale to a certain limit. You work your ass out, and you don't sleep at night and all that. But there's a tipping point where it's also like break even. So if you work to that stage, and people will ask even more of you, but you won't get any more out of it. and they won't get any more out of it. Now you just scale to different figures. So instead of 7, if there's a 0 or several zeros behind it, it's still the same for you. You won't get any outcome of it. You should consider that if the outcome is so small and insignificant, then don't go after it. Stay where you are. Be happy.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shivani.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Shivani. And thanks, Mette. This was a very, very insightful session for all of us. I mean, couldn't have got so much packed into an hour of discussion. And would love to discuss more, but time sensitive and time foundations would sort of, hold us like this. So
Yeah.
thanks once again, everyone, for joining in. Thank you, Mette, for
Thank
being
you
here,
for having
giving
me.
us your time.
Yeah, that was
We are
great
going
fun.
to disturb you better. We are going to keep disturbing you for sure.
Yeah.
Please do. Please do. It's
Okay,
just fun.
Ankit, you have a
Take
question,
care,
Ankit?
everyone. Have a happy
you.
2026.
Ankit, do you want to say something?
No. I just wanted to react. It was a nice session.
Great.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mette. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.
Bye.